Do you like to touch yourself to feel better? Now, I'm not being racy here. When you have sore muscles, your instinct is to self-massage to attempt to soothe those muscles, right? Well, what if I told you that you could do something similar? Not for sore muscle relief, but for emotional relief. In today's episode, Monica introduces myself and our colleague Tricia Johnson to the concept of tapping. Tapping is a tool that you can use to overcome negative emotions, and it's used in a way that touches on meridian points in your body. These meridian points help you to release this negative energy that's pent up. And there's all sorts of benefits from just using this practice of tapping. So if you're interested in finding out more ways to explore the power of touching yourself to feel better, then you are in for a treat. Enjoy. Took this feeling of like my heart in my throat and this pressure, that was like suffocating almost, to that feeling was completely gone by the time I got through that session. So
yeah, it's amazing.
This is Coaching as a podcast developed by 6 amazing coaches dedicated to personal growth, achieving success, and doing the impossible. From Alaska to Switzerland, our reach is far and our dedication to coaching is limitless. If you're ready to grow and succeed, this is the place for you.
So let's tap into action.
Hi, welcome back to This is Coaching. Today, the 3 girls here, we are going to discuss how you can tap into action. My name is Monica Riva. I live in Switzerland, and today with me here today is Nicolette Moore.
Hey.
Hi, Nicolette. Where do you come from?
San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, and Tricia Johnson. Hi.
Hi, from Arvada, Colorado.
Great, wonderful. So, tapping into action. What does that mean? I mean, we all feel stuck sometimes, right? I do too. I must admit that I don't even realize sometimes when I feel stuck, and I suppose a lot of people do have that problem. What do you think, Tricia?
Yeah, so I choose a word every year, and my word this year was resolve, because there are so many things that I want to do and haven't been able to do, that I knew that I was going to need to focus on action this year. So I can definitely relate to this. How about you, Nicolette?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I know a lot of times you would use this word stuck, Monica, and as a homeschooling mom of 4 children, well, I homeschool 3 of them. Another one is still nursing, and trying to manage real estate and then manage some, a business that I'm creating. It's a lot on my plate at any given moment. And a lot of times, even on my, with my best intentions, writing out my goals and setting down my to-dos and thinking through what I need to do to be productive over the course of a week, I definitely feel like I can easily fall into the world of stuck. I'm just always stuck, and I'm sure most of our listeners, if not all of the listeners, can definitely relate to the feeling of being stuck.
Yeah.
So what is the feeling like? Where do you get stuck? Like getting things done? Overwhelm? I mean, there are different ways of getting stuck.
Girl, I got it all. I got it all.
Just like me, right?
Oh my gosh. I look around and I think about all the laundry I have to do, about the cooking I have to do, about the cleaning, about the wiping butts, just the whole thing. But
then
mostly,
you throw in bills and groceries and meals, and then there's the work that you do.
Yeah.
And all the things you have to do with that.
Yeah.
Whether it's real estate or whether it's your business or, we all, just wanted to, you missed a whole 6 other layers to throw in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you went, pardon?
Yes, it's crazy, and it just yes, that sense of overwhelm it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and not being clear on how to spend your day or what's going to be the best use of your time can also just leave you feeling, stuck, feeling like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get myself out of this. And it's a real saboteur, right, of making the progress that you want in your life. And so I think we had talked about, or I think we had wanted to talk about productivity, especially for business, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee. Whenever you get into those seasons or those, for me, it's like every 5 minutes, that feeling of, oh man, I'm stuck again. I'm overwhelmed. I can't figure this out. It doesn't help you, right? It doesn't help you make the progress that you need to make. And then it really can become a big, hairy thing just sitting on your shoulder, always eating at you.
Right. And and just to clarify, we're talking after you know what you want to do. Sometimes sometimes you're at a place where you don't even know where you want to be or what you want to do or what you want to accomplish. And that's a whole different episode.
You know it.
What's that?
You might know it, and you keep trying, but you never manage to get things done and get where you really want to go. You have an idea of what you would want to have. Like, I don't know, lose 10 pounds. You want to, I don't know, do Facebook Lives. You want to do something and you keep either pushing away from it, wanting to do it, but not really getting there. And then finding excuses not to do things.
That idea of banging your head up against the wall or these blocks that we come up against.
Right.
Really
those are blocks.
Really about. So once you kind of have an inclining of where you want to go, what it is you want to do, and you're still not doing it, then, why are you banging your head up against the wall? Why are these blocks there? And so that's where we really wanted to spend time today.
Yeah. So we wanted to identify that as the word block. So we're going to use this word block to kind of summarize this feeling of banging your head against the wall or not being able to make progress. You can't break through. And so what do you do about that?
Well, wait, let's give it, Nicolette, because you had said you're feeling some blocks lately. So can you give us an example, and I can too, of a block that I have? I'll go first. So I don't want to just throw you under the bus.
No, it's okay.
I'll throw you in the bus after I
live under the bus. It's not a big deal.
I've written a children's story. It's been a long, I can't even, I have an envelope somewhere where I sent it to myself with the idea, and I could tell you exactly when this idea came into conception. But it was then 5 years before I even wrote the book. And then I finally got the book written. And then it was 3 years before I edited it. And now it's probably in its second edition of edits. And it sat there for another 3 years.
No.
Yes. And so clearly there's something a little more than just time.
Yeah.
That's my example. So Nicolette, how about you?
Yeah, that's a block. That's a block, girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I got them too, girl. I got them in bulk.
Yes, I have them in bulk. It's like, what do I choose? Okay, so
and it's so easy to be like, well, I don't want to do that one, so I'll go spend 5 minutes on that one.
Right.
And now I don't want to go any further with that one, so then I'm going to go to this one.
Right. This podcast is a great example of a block that I'm experiencing. I am the one that has volunteered to edit and teach somebody else how to edit so that I don't have to edit every single episode. The problem is that, I could give you all the reasons, but there's just a lot of technical things between myself and the person I'm supposed to be teaching how to edit. And I have to learn this new system in order to teach somebody else how to edit. And that's just one more thing on my plate that I have to add in. How do I learn this software so I can teach somebody else to help me do this thing? And because the idea of having to learn the new software has just completely stopped me. it's put my inner world into this major, like, and I'm just freaking out internally. And I finally had to confess to my ladies here earlier about it, because it's eating at me, right? And blocks will do that. It's like, there's something important that needs to be done. You can't, you feel so like stuck, not really like knowing how to make progress. And then it just eats at you. I mean, that's what it does for me. It's just constantly eating away at me. So that's a huge block that I've been experiencing. And it affects me, and it affects y'all, and it affects, the listeners, and it affects so many things. So it's like even more this weight on my shoulders, like, oh shit, get your act together, Nicolette. Get your act together, Nicolette. So that's a big block I'm dealing with right now.
My block is getting out there and being seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me being in my little office, like here, or even downstairs in the basement, and then wanting to reach people, but not daring to talk to them, and that's a huge block.
Yeah.
So you don't get to. So I'll find all other stuff to do. I'll redo my website. I have all these things that I can do, technical things on writing stuff, which doesn't get published, all this kind of stuff. And I feel that I'm moving forward, but I'm not. I'm not moving forward at all. I'm stuck.
Your tail.
Yeah. But then you feel that you're doing something, so then you feel okay. But you have to get into action and do the right action.
Right.
That's the hard part. So how do you do that?
Well, and it's interesting too, because I think it depends on the situation. But as Nicolette was talking, I was hearing sometimes we get this idea of how something should be. Like, okay, this was what we set out to do initially, and this is how it needs to get done. And I think we get stuck in some of that thinking of like, well, this was the plan and now we can't change course, or we can't readjust. So I think that's one thing we need to look for. Are you in a place where you're feeling like you're stuck, or you've got the blocks? Are the blocks because you have a specific idea of how something should look when it's done, how it should be during the process? I think that's one way to start to assess the situation, because I think we got to start with awareness and assessing the situation before we can figure out what to do about it.
Yeah, or are you afraid of what other people will think afterwards? That would be mine, for example.
Yeah, I've been terrified. Like, I have been terrified to talk to y'all about it.
So it can also clearly be multiple different reasons then.
Easily. It's being aware. So I've been aware that this block has been going on, and I've been afraid to admit it, because I don't want to seem like I can't get first, I don't want to be out of integrity, but I'm being out of integrity, right? I'm saying, oh, I can get this done, but then I don't get it done. And then I'm afraid to admit it. And then, it's just this cycle, this domino effect that just, causes you to spiral out of control. And, it reminds me actually of this concept, especially in the entrepreneurial world. They say, it's not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. And so like for my situation, it's like,
so say that again. That's really good.
Yeah. It's not about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness.
Right.
And your resourcefulness, what does that mean? Right. It's what are you willing to do to make things happen?
Right.
Am I willing to either learn the software so I can teach it? Am I willing to take that time? Or am I willing to just get it done on the software that I know and make progress, right? Like either way would make progress, but I have to be resourceful enough to do it. Right. And not just be paralyzed by that feeling of overwhelm by having to learn something new or by having to do it by myself. Because either way sucks, right? Either way sucks for me, but I have to choose one, or I just fail everybody. And then I really, I'm in a situation which is something I don't want to be in, right? So making that choice, like how resourceful am I going to be to get myself out of this situation?
Mm-hmm. So how did you get to that point of recognizing that you needed to be resourceful?
Well, for this particular situation, for this particular podcast and my stuckness with it, my realization was just looking at the calendar and realizing we had talked about a particular date for launch. I was hoping that we could launch for the second quarter, and the second quarter is coming up really quickly. And I was like, I've gotten one episode done and I'm not getting the progress. Like I would have wanted everything to be done by now. And this was like, now it's probably been like a month that I've been thinking this, but again, it was that fear of telling y'all that I was stressed about this software, learning it, and confronting that, or, just sucking it up. So, just, I don't know if I'm answering the question properly, but it's, I've probably known too long, like it makes me feel bad that it's taken me so long to confess, to get it out there.
And that's so typical as humans. We fall into that, the emotion side of things of, I've let people down, and you haven't, just so you know.
No, you haven't.
Like to clarify, but that's where our heads go. And then it's almost like it makes the situation worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, you don't think straight after that. I mean, you start thinking, you don't, I mean, it would be so easy just to say, hey, I haven't gotten it done, and nobody would have said anything and everything would have been perfect. And, but we do that. Me too. I get into my head all the time and I think, and I get scared of doing something and I don't do it. And then I just, pull back. And it's like I'm in a fight or flight situation in a way, and I can't think straight.
Yeah.
And that's often when you get to a place where you feel really stuck, you feel stuck in a corner.
Yeah. And then I think it starts to affect like other parts of our life.
Yes.
Whether it's our work life or our home life, it seems like it's because we don't want to address the issue. We don't realize how much it has an impact on other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really does trickle over. Just thinking about, for again, this example, thinking about the podcast, if I just hear my husband playing a podcast, my heart starts racing and I start getting like sweaty palms then, my kid will come up and start talking to me and I'm just like, what? And I have that anxiety about it, or just that even just the cloud that follows me. I've got this thing that I need to do and it's there, but then I have this other thing I need to do and then it's there. And then, all the things. And so that's where your mind is. And then you can't even be present with your family, present with your loved ones, or even present at Costco when you're shopping, like your mind is elsewhere because you're so consumed with the things that are making you feel that block, making you feel that.
And it robs you.
Completely. So Monica, I'd be curious for you to kind of elaborate on this technique that you know about, that you've been trained in.
Yeah.
And, I'd like for you to share with our audience what tapping is. We titled the episode Tapping into Action for a very specific reason. So there's this technique, tapping, Monica is going to introduce you to, talk to us through, and we're even going to do a little tapping exercise, and we welcome you to join us in. So Monica, share with us about tapping and like what got you into tapping to begin with.
Well, I'm not really, I wasn't into tapping until I started learning about how tapping would get me out of my fear of financial problems. Anything that had to do with money had me get into fight or flight response all the time. I got stuck like that every single time something had to do with money. And so I became a tapping into wealth coach, got certified in that, and I learned so much about tapping. And I found out that this is such an amazing tool that you can use in any area of your life. And tapping, that is basically EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, which is a way of removing the stress response from your body by simply tapping on meridian points around, mostly on your face and your upper body. Sometimes they use their hands as well, but to make it easy, you just find one tapping point and you just tap there. And a lot of people use it under the eye, for example. It was started like there was a psychologist that had learned that there was something. He had a client that was afraid of water, and she was really afraid of water. And he had learned that by tapping underneath his eye, it would release some, it would make you feel calmer. I think it was something like that. So he just went away and left her outside waiting for him by the swimming pool. And he said, well, I'll just go and get something to drink or whatever. I don't know what he said, but I'll be right back. And while I'm away, why don't you just tap underneath your eye to stay calm or something like that. And when he came back, the fear of water had completely gone. And that's how they started introducing tapping into the Western world, Chinese acupuncture. And it's been elaborated since then. And it's turned into this amazing thing that you can actually use in any situation and remove the stress response from your body. And it's even, they use it even for war veterans. And so anytime you don't feel, when you feel stuck or in a corner, using tapping is a great tool.
Yeah, I'd heard it described as kind of this idea that you know, we hold stress in our body, and so our cells actually retain this. It actually can change potentially your cell structure by the stress that you absorb.
Right.
And you know, I've heard the comparison between the animals. You know, like if a dog gets freaked out, what they do is they shake and they shiver uncontrollably until the sensation passes, and then they move on. And same thing with other wildlife, is if they get into a situation where they're fleeing from danger, once they are done fleeing, they shake for a minute to kind of get that anxiety and stress response out of their system, and then they're gone. And for us, we're kind of programmed and we're conditioned to not to hold our emotions in. And so, you know, the all this pent up anxiety and stress can get stuck in our body. And so tapping is kind of, to my understanding, I'm not quite as in the tapping world as you've been, Monica, but it seems that tapping might be a way to kind of help release that stress response out of your body.
Yes, it does. It releases that stress response. And when you do this tapping, it's a good thing to first rate how you feel on a scale of 1 to 10. They call it the SUD scale. And because afterwards you won't really remember even that you felt how bad it was before you started, because it's so subtle in your body that you don't even, but it's so, even though it's subtle, it's life-changing in a way, because it changes, as you said, the whole chemistry of everything in your body, and make you feel so much calmer, and you can think better. You get into actually creative thinking after that. And,
creative problem solving.
Yeah, you find solutions while you're tapping. The solution just might pop into your head, and it's such an amazing tool to have.
So can you tell us what the different points are on your body? I know you mentioned under your eye, but
you usually start, there are different ones. One is at the top of your eye, next to your nose, at the end of the eyebrow, and then you have the one on the side of the eye, Then there's the one underneath your eye, underneath your nose, your chin, in that cleft you have here. And then the collarbone, and under the arm, and on top of the head. So, and some people, you can do it even without people seeing it. If you don't feel like if you're under emotion, for example, and you don't want people to really realize it, you can even just use it on your fingers, and just tap on your finger underneath the desk or wherever you're sitting, so people don't even see it. Just right here on the side of your fingernail.
Is there a particular finger, or does anything
No. You just usually you use just one finger, and you just tap, and you can tap underneath, and then just down, and nobody will even notice that you're doing it. So you don't always have to tap right on your face. It can be done very subtly.
Okay. And so for the sake of productivity, if somebody is like me, I've got things on my plate I've got to get done, but I'm feeling stuck in my ability to produce. I'm feeling stuck in my ability to get progress made in this podcast, for example. How could I use tapping to get out of that? Like, would Tricia, would you be willing to play with an exercise with that, and maybe kind of focusing on productivity?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a great way of, I mean, that's just the best way is just to think about anything that keeps you stuck and not in action, and you just rant. You just talk about whatever's keeping you stuck, or how angry it makes you feel, and you just keep tapping, either through the different points, or just choose one point that you prefer. A lot of people like the collarbone point as well, and you just go through it. So I am so sick and tired of this. I just cannot take it any longer. I need to get into action, and you just keep tapping. So you can just tap through all the points, or as I said, just on the collarbone point, and say, I'm so angry. And yeah, just keep on tapping like that. So do you want to go through it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to?
Is that just the whole thing? Is you just rant angrily the whole time, or do you ever like flip the script?
First you start ranting, and a lot of people start with, even though I am angry with myself, I truly love myself. But sometimes when you're in a situation like that, you're already so upset, so you don't have to feel into it.
Okay.
So that you have to heighten the feelings that you already have, because you're already angry, you're already in it. So you can lately even the big tapping guys, some of them are even leaving that part out, because you're already so stressed about this that the only thing that matters is to calm it down, because you know what you're stressed about.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd love for you to lead us through an exercise.
And then afterwards, when you have ranted up for a while, then you just go into more positive state, where you sort of accept yourself for what it is, and then you end up with a positive round. So you go from negative to neutral to positive usually.
Okay.
And then do you go back to your baseline scale of, what'd you say?
Yeah, and then you go back to your baseline scale. So Nicolette, how does it feel when you really think about how it feels to not be productive?
I would definitely say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being all good, 10 being the worst ever, probably I'll give it a solid 9.
A 9, okay.
Solid 9.
Good. What about you, Tricia?
Well, it's been out of sight, out of mind. So I've done a really good job of avoiding it. I'm going to say like a 7.
Like a 7, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down before I forget. Okay, 7.
So I'm not sure that I'm choosing the right words, but you can just say your own words as well. So put in your own words. So if I say something that doesn't really resonate with you, either you can go along with it, or you choose your own version of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
Right there.
you just feel into one thing, and I think this is pretty perfect because it's both of you, Nicolette and even Tricia, both of you wanted the book to get done, and Nicolette, you wanted the podcast to get done. Now this is going to be a bit of ranting, so be prepared, right? Because I'm not going to take you through the initial part, even though we're just going to dive right into the tapping. So you just think about you being there, like Tricia, you have written the book, you have it ready to be sent, and you're not sending it. And Nicolette, about the podcast.
I'm looking at Google Drive, and I'm looking at all the episodes that need to be edited. That's where my head can go. Yeah.
Great. So let's go through it.
Okay.
There I am, on the side of the eye.
On the top
of the head. Nose.
Okay. And what are we saying?
There I am.
There I am.
What an idiot.
What an idiot.
Next to the eye.
What an idiot.
Under the nose. I should have known better.
I should have known better.
I should have known better.
Under the nose. I should have been smarter.
I should have been smarter.
Chin point. I should have worked it out.
I should have worked
it out.
Why don't I get things done? Collarbone point.
Why don't I get
things done?
I keep procrastinating.
I keep procrastinating.
And let's jump the under the arm point. It's a bit awkward and complicated, so let's just do the top of the head. I never get stuff done. Top of the head. Never get stuff done.
I never get stuff done.
I don't get the podcast done. Up top eyebrow point.
I don't get the podcast done.
And Tricia, I didn't publish the book.
Didn't get the book.
Why am I procrastinating? It's under the eye.
Why am I procrastinating?
Why am I procrastinating?
Why can't I get stuff done? Under the nose.
Why can't I get stuff done?
This is so frustrating.
This is so frustrating.
So frustrating.
Under the nose, under the chin point. I don't get things done.
I don't get
things done. Collarbone.
Collarbone point. I never get stuff done.
I never get stuff done.
I'm so disappointed with myself.
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 And it's hurting me.
And it's hurting me.
I don't want to feel this way.
I don't want to feel this way.
Because I am a good girl. I am good at what I do.
I'm a good girl. I am good at what I do.
Top of the head. But sometimes I get stuck. And I get angry with myself. I want to be perfect all the time.
I want to be perfect all the time.
I want the podcast to be perfect.
I want the podcast to be perfect.
I want the book to be perfect.
Right. Side of the eye. But what is perfect?
But what is perfect?
Perfect for me?
Perfect for me?
Under the eye. I have this inner critic.
I have an inner critic.
And it's being really tough on me.
And it's being really tough on me.
My inner critic is trying to keep me safe.
My inner critic is trying to keep me safe.
And that's why it's keeping me from making progress.
And that's why it's keeping me from making progress.
Underneath the nose, it wants to keep me safe.
It wants to keep me safe.
Under the chin point, underneath your mouth. And it's really tough on me.
But it's really tough on
me.
And it's really hurting me.
And it's really hurting me.
I really need to forgive myself.
I really need to forgive myself.
I really need to forgive my inner critic.
I really need to forgive my inner critic.
And know that I'm safe.
And know that I'm safe.
And know that I am safe.
But can I forgive myself?
But can I forgive myself?
On top of the head. Can I accept myself?
Can I accept myself?
Can I accept not being continuously perfect?
Can I accept not
being continually perfect?
Can I love myself?
Can I love myself?
Yes.
Can I love myself right now?
Can I love myself right now?
Before I do anything more?
Before I do anything more.
Side of the eye. In this moment.
In this
moment.
Where I am.
Where I am.
At the same time, perfect.
At the same time, perfect.
And imperfect.
And imperfect.
Powerful.
Powerful.
And amazing.
And amazing.
And what can I learn from this?
And what can I learn from this?
What can I learn from this?
What can I learn from this?
That I'm me.
That I'm me.
That I am me.
That I'm powerful.
That I'm powerful.
That I'm deserving.
That I'm deserving.
That I'm awesome.
That I am
awesome.
That I'm perfect.
That I'm perfect.
Even the way I am.
Even the way I am.
The way I am.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Let's take a deep breath. And you can stop tapping. So if you think about how you felt before, how do you feel now? If you think about your book, Tricia, or Nicolette, about the podcast not getting done, how does it feel?
I'd say probably I was at a 7. I'd probably say I'm down to a 4.
Right.
And that's with like trying to figure out how to do the podcast and this.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that like in a situation where it was just me doing this, and now that I know how to do it, I could see it really being very helpful. It's almost like a pattern interrupt.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
what about you, Nicolette?
I'd probably say that I probably, I don't know that it's dropped that much.
Because sometimes it doesn't. That's the thing. Sometimes it goes up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes up also because you start focusing more on this than you do. Like sometimes whatever you're thinking about, it's in the background of your mind and you try to sort of avoid it, but then voicing it and talking about it,
Yeah.
it brings it up and it makes it stronger. But that's normal. So
Yeah.
then you just keep tapping.
Okay.
But now you should use your own
I
words.
should probably like do more because I'm like, I actually kind of feel a little anxious right now. Like, I
Right.
feel like,
So that means that you can just keep on tapping while you're talking.
okay.
You just keep on tapping and you just talk about it or think about it. And it will slowly reduce.
While we close it.
So, is it my understanding that you do this until you're like at a 1 or a 2?
You try to get as low as possible, but sometimes, I mean, you cannot always get into a complete state of calmness in one go. Sometimes it will take several times.
Okay.
Is it something that you could probably work on throughout the course of a day, or like if I do it for the next 20 minutes and it drops, it lessens? Because I think what I'm feeling is like a surge of energy, you know, like you said, like now, because we were talking about it, but closing my eyes and just kind of saying the words made those feelings swell up in me, like all that.
Yeah, it's normal. It's perfectly normal.
Yeah, and so I wonder if I just need to process it more. Like I could feel like this energy that just wants to like sitting right.
Then you would use your own words as well. You just keep using your own words, what really resonates with you, because whatever I say might not be the right words even.
Yeah.
You just use the words that are yours and you tap. Even, I mean, go to the toilet and tap for 2 minutes. Yeah. Doesn't have to be long.
What's interesting is I had done a tapping session last week when I was, or actually at the beginning of this week when I was coming home from a trip, and I was having a little bit of some feelings I was having a difficult time navigating. And so on a drive, I was literally driving. I do not recommend this, but it wasn't that, I mean, it really wasn't that bad, but I was doing this while I'm driving, you know, tapping on my head and talking through my emotions. And I actually did feel a tangible shift in my energy on this drive.
Right.
But you're right. Like I was in my own little space, my own little world, and I was able to just kind of like go through the motions. And it really did. It took this feeling of like my heart in my throat and this pressure, you know, that was like suffocating almost, to that feeling was completely gone by the time I got through that session. So
yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes it even makes you yawn when you're doing it, which means that you're releasing energy.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for.
Yeah, no, that was just the top of my head stuff. So I mean, you can just use any kind of words that suit you, and just go through the tapping points or tap on any meridian point. If you Google it, you will find all the points there, and while you're talking or thinking through your problem, you will just come up with amazing solutions sometimes.
Well, for any of the listeners that are fascinated by this, because this is just really a fascinating kind of topic, a new approach to shifting yourself out of those blocks and into productivity, or you know, getting out of the funk that you might be in over whatever. So if you want more information, find us in our Facebook group. You can pick Monica's brain. You can, you know, talk to her, reach out to her, and heck, maybe one day we'll do a Facebook Live in the group and we'll all just tap together or something. We'll have a
tap into action summit.
Yeah. There's so many, as we said at the beginning, there's so many areas of life where you really need to get into action. So, I mean, I'm sure you could actually really make a summit out of it.
Easily. All right, y'all. Well, listeners, thank you for tuning in, and I hope this has been a very interesting episode for you. Thank you so much, Monica, and thanks, Trish, for playing along and
thanks a lot
with me.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time then. I guess not see.
Yeah.
We'll chat next time.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.